I managed to get through 7.5 books this month, and to be honest, I don't think I'll ever recover from some of them. Hi guys, and welcome back, or if you're new here, welcome to my channel. I'm Amy and I talk all things bookish and a little bit of boring day-to-day life through in the middle of it. I'm going to start doing for this video my monthly wrap up early, just because for the next few weeks I'm going to be absolutely swamped with work and reading and outside of work commitments as well. So I wanted to at least make sure I covered my monthly wrap up. I also asked on my Instagram page what you'd like to see me cover this time in my latest video, and you've come to the general decision that you'd like to see which books changed me or which books had the most impact on me. So I'm going to cover as many as I can today in this video. But yeah, if you want to have a look around on my channel, have a quick view of the videos that I've previously mentioned, like, subscribe, we'll get right into it. So I've managed to read about 7.5 books this month, which I'm really happy with. It was a mix of emotional reads, slightly chaotic ones, and a couple that just stayed in my head longer than I expected. So just going through my lovely little book review journal, I read The Red Queen, Ask for Andrea, Butter, The Virgin Suicides, Mile High, Dungeon Crawler Call, Our Infinite Fates, and I am halfway through Starside now as well, which I am really enjoying. I will talk more on those later on in the video, but I did just want to go through quickly the books that changed me or have impacted me the most, or that just stay with me. So the first book that I'd say that really impacted me or changed me was Metal Slinger, and I read this not long ago, so it is still fresh in my mind. I am still obsessed with it. You've probably seen it on my book talk, on my bookstagram, all of it, of me talking about it. I'm just obsessed with it and I can't wait for Light Wielder. But this book just felt like chaos, obsession, and something that I couldn't escape from. I really wanted to be in this world. It went into something quite intense and I didn't expect it to feel so consuming for me either. It's one of those books where you don't even fully process it whilst you're reading it, you're that immersed. So it kind of lingers afterwards and you're just kind of shocked by the end. You're like, whoa, wait a second, what the hell has just gone on here? And then you end up still thinking about it. Like, I'm still thinking about it now, months later. I think I read it in January and I still can't get it out of my head. So that one is going to always be one that I recommend. I still have it saved on my Kindle just because I want to reread it. So I can't bring myself to undownload it. I just can't. So I absolutely adore that one. That's the first one that I'd say has had the biggest impact on me, and especially as of recently as well. The next one I'd say is probably one of the earliest books that I can remember reading that really stayed with me. So as soon as I was old enough, I read The Great Gatsby, just because it explored quite a few mature themes. And overall it just made me ache for something that I didn't really understand. I didn't really know that I needed. And it's always going to be one of my favourites. Like, I reread it at least once a year. I absolutely adore it. I just love it. It's a quiet kind of sadness, but it still stays with you. And I think that's just due to the way that it captures longing from Gatsby, from Daisy, from all the characters within the book itself. And it looks at the different ways about that. It looks at the ways of different mental health. It looks at the ways of just wanting something out of reach and that being so subtle but heavy at the same time. So how obsessed Gatsby is with Daisy, and how he's literally created this whole image, this whole life to get to her. And why he does that, like, oh, I just love it. I'm obsessed with it. So again, that's one book that I think is always gonna stay in my head. It always gives, for me personally, it just makes me think that there's so many different layers to people, and I loved unpicking it and going through it all. So yeah, that's another one that I'm absolutely obsessed with. The next one was a bit of a mixed one for me. So I read this one this month, and I'd say The Virgin Suicides, but that's because it was more haunting more than anything else. So it made me think the sisters are so out of reach that we never really understand why. And they haunt this narrative, like they're just so out of reach and you never fully understand them. And I think that's what made it impactful, really, like, because you never get the answer you're looking for. You're always met with, well, why did they do it? They just went and did it. And that for me is a really big thing, because I love knowing the why. So the fact that I never get the why, I'm like, great, I want the why, and it's really cleverly done that you've left it there, but why is it left there? So it was a mixed one for me, but it has stayed with me because it kind of lingers in your head that sometimes there's just no reason that you know of. And that's the most impactful thing, that it will just linger, and things like that will just stay with somebody. And how it stayed with the boys as well for all those years later, and how it still impacted their lives. It just made me think a lot about really sensitive topics like that as well, and how people can, I can't even say pick it apart, because he didn't really pick it apart. He kind of addressed it and then left it, which was great because it's very different. But we'll move on. So another one that I thought was really interesting and has stayed with me and changed the way I think has been Butter. So Butter made me feel really uncomfortable in places. I really enjoyed it, and I thank the guy in Waterstone saying I'd really enjoy it, because he was right. But it just made me, in a way, it made me think more deeply about things I wouldn't normally question. So I don't even know how to just expand on that one now. I think overall, I can't just take things at face value now from that book. I have to look into, again, it's knowing the why. Sometimes you don't get to know the why, sometimes you just need to know the why. And I feel like this is the best thing with books, because they really test that sort of level for each person. And Butter made me just, as much as it made me uncomfortable, now I kind of dissect things. Again, it's so convoluted, but I do really recommend sticking with it and sitting with those uncomfortable feelings, because sometimes they just push you out your comfort zone, and it really was a good read for me. And again, it challenges you, so I didn't realise it was challenging me at first, but by the end it's like, whoa, okay, this is different. Yeah, so I think just off the top of my head, those are the ones that I would say have changed me the most, or have impacted me in some way. There are more, and I'll probably continue to make this a series on my book talk, but let's get into my monthly reads and what I rated them. I'm just having a big sip of my water, but how cute is my water bottle that I got from B&M's? Obsessed with it. For a £5. Hydration. So, going into my 7.5 monthly reads reviews. we'll start off with the Red Queen, which I finished right at the beginning of April on the 3rd. And I rated this about 4 stars. I really enjoyed how thrilling it was. I'm literally just reading this for you now. How it gave strong dystopian vibes with a fantasy twist, which kept me hooked the entire way through. Mary's a great female main character. I liked seeing her navigate the world where she feels out of place, unsure of who to trust. I also really enjoyed the court dynamics, and the tension between characters was very well done, with all the twists and the shift in loyalties. The ending, no spoilers, but the ending really caught me off guard, and it's left me wanting more, so I am excited to continue on the series. The reason I rated it 4 stars is just because it is slightly predictable with its tropes, but it is still an easy read, so depends what you'd take from that. It's perfect for strong female main characters, a slow burn tension, and a mix of romance and rebellion. So, good start to kick off April. I then read Ask for Andrea, so I switched to a thriller, and I finished that on the 9th of April. And again, I rated that 4 stars just because it caught me off guard. It was haunting, emotional, full of suspense with multiple perspectives that slowly came together. The atmosphere that was created was pretty unsettling, but underneath that it explored grief, justice, and finding a voice, which made it feel deeper than your typical thriller. I'm a big Freida McFadden fan, and this just felt like it had more substance to it. So it's really changed the way I think about thrillers going forward, I'd say. It did take me a little while though to get into the writing style, which is why I rated it 4 stars instead of 5. But once they all connected, those different perspectives, that really helped to add to the tense atmosphere, should I say, and I enjoyed how it all came together and how they worked together then to get, again, no spoilers, to the desired outcome. I know a few of my book talk girlies are reading this next, so I'm trying to keep this so spoiler free. The ending was quiet, powerful, and it stayed with me after I finished it. So the next read that I finished this month was Butter, as I said earlier. Butter was a 4-star read for me, and I finished this on the 13th of April. And I rated it a slow, quietly unsettling read that's much more about control, desire, and womanhood than the crimes themselves. I'm going to try and keep as many spoilers out of it again, I'm really sorry. Following Rika's investigation, the story uses food in such an interesting way, symbolising indulgence, power, and letting go of expectations. So a lot of these reads that I'm discovering now by Asian authors look at family representations, look at the expectations of women within these traditional societies and things like that. And it really does give me a different perspective, which I'm really enjoying. So I read a few other books that are on my shelves. Murder at the Black Cat Cafe, I picked up another one recently. It will just help to explore those things, because I am really enjoying getting to know a different perspective. So I really enjoyed that about Butter, actually. The pacing is gentle but intentional, and the lack of clear answers makes it linger even more, so you're never really sure by the end of it. Again, I don't want to spoil it because it's so good. But again, because you don't get all the answers, for me that was a little bit like, you're left wanting more, but at the same time I'm kind of like, I would just like an answer now to that. So that was the only downside for me. It's slightly eerie, very character driven, strange, thought-provoking, and one that stays with you, as I've said. The next one that I read was the Virgin Suicides. Again, I finished that on the 13th of April, so I did a lot of early month reading. I did actually only rate this 3.5 stars. And I think that's because we don't ever truly know the Lisbon sisters, as I said earlier. They're only observed, which makes everything feel distant and a little haunting. So it's just like they haunt the narrative throughout, which can be done in a really good way, but at times the writing, it felt like a dream is the best way I could describe it. Like, you're never really sure what is real and what isn't. But there's also this underlying heaviness through the whole way. It's more about atmosphere and feeling rather than plot, which I did enjoy, but it did leave me wanting just a little bit more from it. But as I said earlier, it does stay with you in the fact that we never know why the girls do it. It's just done, no answers, book's over. So a good read to challenge you, I think, if you're like me and need to know the whys of the world. But yeah, I don't think I would read again and again and again. The next book I read this month was Mile High. I know. Everybody says about this series, and I finally went in. And you'll be happy to know I rated it 5 stars. I really enjoyed it. I finished it on the 16th of April and I couldn't put it down. It's one of those books where you say one more chapter and you're awake at 2-3 in the morning still reading it, because you just can't. I was obsessed. The chemistry between the characters was unreal, intense, emotional, full of tension in the best way. V and Z. The dynamic had such perfect mix of angst, passion and softness. And what made it a 5-star read was how invested I became. So I'm not really a sports romance reader. I don't really do your soppy romances. It's just not really me. I don't know why. I can't get into them a lot of the time. This was so good. I can't begin to describe it. Like, oh, the highs were high, the emotional moments was so good. And it was romantic, a little bit messy, but I was fully consumed with it. I've loved it so much, and I'm definitely going to continue the series. I heard it only gets better, so who knows, maybe I'll be rating my books to 6 stars. The next book I read for this month was Dungeon Crawler Cop. So one of my BookTok girls, Charlotte, over at Book Besties Club, recommended this for me. A few others also recommended it to me as well. So we'll be trusting your opinions going forward. I rated this 4.5 stars. Really enjoyed. I finished it on the 18th of April and I could not put it down. So it really did surprise me. I didn't think I'd like it because I'd heard like a few people saying that it's a few different things about it. That it was like a video game, that it's like those choose your own type of books. I don't know where that came from, but I'd heard it. And that could not be further from what the book actually is. It starts as a chaotic, kind of stupid premise. It's like aliens have turned the earth into a deadly dungeon game. And they're harvesting the earth for minerals. That's the opening setting. Like, you're literally bang in there with our mate Carl. And through that, it just becomes so addictive and so clever. Honestly, I didn't know where it was going half the time. And I've seen so many things now about the author where he doesn't know where it's going and he lets people pick the endings for his books and all things like that. And maybe because that's the vibe it gives me. But Carl is such a strong main character, he's reluctant, sarcastic, but grounded, so he's really level-headed. But the real start of this book for me was Princess Donut. I bloody love that cat. She was so funny, she had so much heart, like, I just loved her. She was so good. But the mix for them both of like the survival, the comedy and the game mechanics just made it feel really fast-paced without losing any of the emotion behind it. The dungeon challenges were really intense and the world building was wild but easy to follow. So it was chaotic, funny and surprisingly gripping. So if you want something that's different, that's going to keep you hooked, I really do recommend it because I absolutely loved it. And it really surprised me that I did. The next book that I completed this month was Our Infinite Fates. So I did originally rate it 4 stars, but I think upon reflection it's going to be a 3 to a 3.5. It was fine. I just don't really think it impacted me much. I finished this on the 19th of April, and basically it's a story of 2 souls that across multiple lifetimes they find their way to each other in different forms. Sometimes they fall in love, sometimes they miss each other, sometimes the connection feels more like a curse than fate. And then as the timelines unfold, you see how the past lives shape the present. So it's more like exploring fate versus choice and whether love is truly destined or something that has to be chosen. Does that make sense? I thought it was a unique concept. I really did. And it was a lot more emotional than I expected, but it was a bit confusing as well at times for me, like with the timeline jumps, and I don't know. It just didn't really hit for me. I just couldn't. I tried. I really did try. It wasn't a fast-paced read, and it wasn't really one that stuck with me as such. And then for my half book, it's obviously, I didn't drop it, Starside. So Starside for me is on track to being a 5-star read, maybe even a 6. I am obsessed. I am obsessed with Reika and Aris. Aris, however you pronounce it. I love fantasy books when you can't pronounce the names. Honestly, I'm so good at it. But this, I don't know where it's going half the time. She throws in a lovely twist, like every single chapter. Every time I think, we're going to go into a fight. No. We don't. There's a beast. There's a dragon. There's a sword. I don't know where we're going with it. There's an immortal. I honestly can't predict where this is going. And this feels so refreshing because I'm like 50, I'm here. I'm 50 something % through. And tell me why they're still enemies. Tell me why she still hates him. Tell me why she keeps having these little inappropriate thoughts about him where she's like, his back's very muscly and he's got no top on, and she's like, wait, no. Leonardo DiCaprio memory goes, that's what she's doing. Get back here. No, we don't think that way about him. And I'm still obsessed, and he keeps staring at her now. I'm obsessed. So yeah, I can't wait. The only downside is that the next book is only out in 2027. But it's fine. That'll come around quick, I'm sure. But yeah, this is on track to being a 5-star read. So I know a few people have been really tempted on whether or not to get this. Been telling my book girlies, get it. Listen to it. It's telling you to buy it. I don't promote this book. Alex asked her if you need me to, I will. So that's what I've been reading for the month. I've really enjoyed this month actually. I've not really had any books that have been below 3 stars. I've been quite lucky in that respect. I do need to pick what I'm going to be covering in May. So let me know down in the comments below, as I'd love to set up a TBR list. What do you think I should be reading in May? I do really want to read The Cruel Prince. I've heard really good things about it. I do also need to finish ACOTAR with A Court of Silver Flames. I need to continue Throne of Glass series. I also have The Alchemy of Secrets by Stephanie Garber that I need to read. I also have Alchemized I still need to read. There's a lot for me to get through, but what do you think I should read in May? Let me know in the comments. And if there's anything you would like to see me cover on this channel, please do let me know. You can let me know on either my BookTok, my Bookstagram, or subscribe, and let me know in the comments on here as well. I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and thank you so much again for watching. Have a nice week.